What did I do?
How much you had to drink tonight?
Nothing.
Nothing? How many beers do you think you had?
0, man.
0?
Help me out, man. Like, what are we doing here? Like, what did I do?
Welcome in, everybody. We are here at the Supreme Court of the Internet. I am your host, Attorney Joe Volta, High Voltage Law. Like and follow the channel. And we are here today to break down an amazing video of a gentleman who does not know how to keep his mouth shut. It's the number one thing you need to do when dealing with the police, especially if you know you've done something wrong. So without further ado, let's get stuck in.
What did I do?
How much you had to drink tonight?
All right, so title of the video, the worst drunk driving liar.
Zeros?
Let's see what happens. All right, so one thing I want to say before we go into this video is he did answer the question right. When you're going to speak to the cops, if you're talking about drinking, the answer is always 0. It's never 1 or 2 because that's admitting to a crime. It's always 0.
Gross speaking, double people.
All right, one thing I will mention, when the cops are driving behind you, they run your license plates all the time. This is a legitimate reason to pull somebody over.
877 Young Edward Paul. 877 Young Edward Paul.
All right, so on a dark road like this, one thing I will say to make cops feel safe, always keep your hands on the steering wheel. No sudden movements is the best way to not get yourself shot. All right, walking up, dark, flashlight, pretty
What's up,
normal.
bud?
Hi, you wouldn't happen to be Jeffrey, would you?
I would.
You would?
All right, so the first thing this guy did right, his window was already down, radio's noticeably off, so those are all good things.
Would?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the reason I'm stopping you is a few different things. Is the registration's suspended,
I know.
and then your driver's license is suspended also. So
All right, what he did not do right is he admits to his registration being suspended, and he admits to his license being suspended. Never admit to anything.
where are you guys headed to?
Her house.
Oh, you're a passenger?
Next thing, when the cops ask you where you're going, you don't have to tell them. All you have to say politely is, I'm not discussing my day.
Okay, where are you coming from?
Just going home.
Okay,
Look at us.
And again, if you're going to discuss where you're coming from, never tell them that you're coming from a bar, a restaurant, or anything to that effect. It's not up to the police to get that information out of you, right? They are always trying to do that, and you don't have to give it to them. So the number one thing you got to do is remember to be quiet, and you don't have to discuss your day. They're simply asking you those questions to try and get you to admit to doing something wrong.
You don't have a credit card or anything, Jeff?
No.
Nothing like
I pay cash.
okay. Okay.
All right, so the police report says his eyes were glassy and that his speech was slow and slightly slurred. Well, I don't know about that. I mean, the 2 minutes I've watched of this video, he seems pretty calm. I didn't think his eyes were glassy, although I wasn't really looking for it. It's the first time I'm watching this video, just like many of you. So let's see if his eyes are glassy, but his speech did not appear slurred. And another point I'll make, the driver, or the passenger rather, if you're riding in a car with someone that gets pulled over, the best thing to do is, you guessed it, keep your mouth shut.
What did I do?
So part of our job is just running plates. So as you pass, I run the plate, it comes back suspended, your driver's license. So that's
All right, so you'll see here on the screen, it says, when asked if he would blow zeros on a preliminary breath test, he responded, maybe. The correct answer would be, I am not discussing my day. Am I being arrested or detained? And am I free to go? You would never respond with the word maybe.
how much you had to drink tonight?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Great answer.
You'd blow zeros?
Maybe.
All right.
All right, so obviously we just talked about it. The fact that he says maybe is basically admitting that he's had something to drink. Because if you've had nothing to drink, you're going to say 0. No, I'm going to blow absolutely nothing on the breath test.
All right. Do you have insurance on the vehicle?
I do.
Who's that with?
Bottleberg.
Who's that?
Cross.
You just making that up?
Google it, man. It's a real thing.
All right.
All right, so I'm an injury attorney. I deal with insurance companies all the time. Never heard of that insurance company. And when this video is over, I am going to Google that. So the deputy Told Dupree he didn't have identification, and dispatch confirmed his license was revoked and was operating a vehicle with an expired registration. So you can't do that, right? Obviously, these things, the cop, in his discretion, may or may not be able to arrest you. It really depends on your state. However, those are all legitimate reasons to get pulled over, and the cop is well within his rights to ask all the questions that he's been asking to Dupree, but Dupree would be within his rights to keep his mouth shut.
Okay.
All right, so Dupree agreed to a field sobriety test and showed multiple clues of intoxication. He refused a preliminary breath test, so police obtained a warrant for a blood draw. Yes, you can always refuse a breath test. You do not have to take a breath test. And why that's important is because on the scene, a breath test, if you have been drinking, is obviously going to register higher than the amount of time it takes to take you back to the station, do everything they got to do at the station, then draw your blood. So right there, you have a chance, if you've only been drinking a little bit, to get under your state's legal limit. Now, I only say that to tell you little tricks of the trade. However, don't drink and drive. That's generally a good principle or a good way to live. One other thing I will say is you don't have to agree to a field sobriety test. Just because they offer one and ask you to take one, a field sobriety test, if you've been drinking, is only going to provide evidence against yourself. And that is what the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution protects against, self-incrimination. You do not have to do what the police ask you to do. Now, you may automatically lose your license if you don't do it. However, you're not giving the state evidence to hold you accountable.
If you can pass field sobriety, then we would just probably need, you are on bond. I don't know if we'd take you in on that or not. If we released you, you could possibly.
I feel like I could probably pass.
Okay, I don't want to jump ahead of ourselves here. So if you want to just let her know you'll call her back.
One other thing I will say, since he has his phone out, you are allowed to record the police. The best way to do it is simply turn your phone on. You have your phone, right? Turn on the camera and you sit it down in the cup holder facing up out the window so you can record the cop. And you can tell the cops that you're recording them. You ask them for their name and their badge number, right? It helps you for your safety, just like the body cams protect the cops for their safety and for yours as well.
Trying to do field sobriety here, all right?
Thank you, sir.
If the cops ask you out of the car, you have to comply whether you've been drinking or not. They have a right to ask you out of the vehicle. When you don't comply, that's usually when bad things happen.
You didn't have an IID in there, did you?
What's that?
An IID? The thing you're blowing? You don't have one of those? Okay. All right. You mind if I just check your pockets and then you can put your hands back in there?
So yeah, don't do that if you have one of those in your car. That means you've already been pulled over.
What do you got here? No, you do have a license.
Yeah, it's not.
Oh, cops busted him with a license when he told him he didn't have one. Never good to lie to the cops. Just keep your mouth shut.
I don't have a license, though.
Well, it's an ID. You've got it. Okay. All right. I'll have you turn around, Chase. Or face me here. You said you're coming from lacrosse? Whereabouts?
My home.
You had a little bit to drink?
A little bit.
What do you usually drink?
We're not.
All right. So he was doing good up until the maybe about passing the breath test, but then the cop just asked him, you had a little bit to drink, and he says, a little bit. So that's admitting that you've been drinking. Don't ever do that. Keep your mouth shut. And again, you don't have to do field sobriety tests. Your license will automatically get revoked, but that's way better than providing the state evidence to use against you.
Part of me getting there is in building that suspicion to put you through field sobriety.
I know what you're saying.
So he tells him, I gotta have a reason to do this. And by asking questions, that's how cops get the reason, because you talk too much.
Tell me kind of what you've been drinking or how many?
0.
Now he goes back to 0.
All right.
I like this guy. He's clever.
So, first test we're going to do then is the eye test.
Yes, sir.
You want to tip those glasses up there for me? So, following the tip of my pen with your eyes only, not moving your head.
All right, so the purpose of this test is when they move the pen side to side, when they get all the way to the end or the side of your eyes for the peripheral vision, when you stress your eyeballs to move them over there to look, if you've been drinking or are on drugs, they start bouncing up and down. And that's a telltale sign that you've been drinking, right? And the cops use that to fail you if that's what happens. Obviously, we can't see his eyes because of the angle of the body cam, which kind of sucks because I'm interested to see.
Yep, like I said, you might not be able to see it at all times, but you're still going to hold that position. So imagining that there's a straight line right in front of you, put your left foot on that line. Put your right foot in front of your left foot, just like I am here. You keep your hands down to your sides. Are you able to do heel to toe? Just like this?
Well, I had a vasectomy. Let me pull this out.
Okay.
The balls are.
Put your.
This guy, he legit tells the cops that he had a vasectomy recently and that his balls hurt. And so it's going to be hard to do heel to toe. Now, I don't know. I'm just super interested now to see how this goes. But that is the greatest thing I've ever heard.
Stay in this position until I tell you otherwise. When I tell you to, you're going to take 9 heel-to-toe steps. 1, 2, 3. All the way until you get to 9. When you get to 9, you're going to take a series of small steps. You're going to return back down that line. I got to have you get back in that position, though.
Okay.
You're going to return back down this line, counting 9 heel-to-toe steps. 1, 2, 3, all the way until you get to 9. Do you understand that?
So the other half tough part of these tests, and if you've been drinking, are following the directions, right? So say you complete the test and you walk heel to toe and you do 10 or 11 steps. And then you take too big of steps to turn around and you do 10 or 11 on the way back. You can be failed for that because you didn't follow the directions, right? So again, it's another reason why you don't agree to take these tests if you've been drinking. And they're extremely difficult. Even if you haven't been drinking, they're tough to do. Saw a little wobble there, no heel to toe. It looks like he's just kind of walking normal. I don't know. That didn't look very good. He had the old wobble.
Next thing is going to be the one leg stand.
Yeah, one leg
Feet
stand,
together, hands down to
untied
your
shoes.
sides, okay? Just like I am here, stay in this position until I tell you otherwise. When I tell you to, you're going to lift either foot of your choice off the ground approximately 6 inches, just like this here. You're going to look at that toe and count out loud, 1001, 1002, 1003, until I tell you to stop, okay?
2001, 2002.
So that's extremely difficult if you're
But anytime
in
you
shape, whatever.
either leg of your choice, yep.
He already admitted to his knees hurting, right? He's saying he had a torn ACL, PCL, right? So these are things that an experienced criminal attorney could use potentially to help get the field sobriety test thrown out, right? Because if you're having to do things with your leg or stand on one leg, this, that, or the other, you know, he's got torn ligaments. So it could be extremely difficult. But these tests are hard when you're sober. So doing them under the influence, nearly impossible.
At any time you drop your foot, feel free to pick it up where you left off. Counting out loud.
What football player is that? Is that guy a Brown? Is this cop a Browns fan?
When did you
I
have a
almost
surgery?
want
Like
Rewind
2 years ago, and it's
to
bad.
see, because if he's a Browns fan,
Still?
it's no good. He's not a Steelers fan. Even worse. I want to see this cop's phone again.
I'm getting blinded. Hang tight there.
Best NFL team.
Real quick, I just wanted to say that Attorney Tom / Attorney Reacts content is now on Spotify. We just launched a partnered show, link in the description. Go check it out. Now, back to the video.
Let's do a few other tests. So, what I need you to do, starting at D like dog, recite the alphabet to S like Sam, do not sing it, okay? So starting at D and ending at S without singing it.
All right, so let's see if he can do it. I'm very intrigued. I'm going to bet he can't do it.
E F G H I J K L M N O P Q R S T U V.
All right, he failed. He couldn't follow the directions. One, he was kind of singing, and he went past S, right? When you're drinking and driving, you're cognitively impaired. You're not going to be able to pass these tests. Keep your mouth shut, and don't help the state build a case against you. Because when you go to court, they're going to play this video in front of the judge or in front of a jury, and you're not going to get out.
Counting backwards from 74 to 59.
74, 63, 62, 61, 60, 59.
Okay?
Nailed that one.
Next
Well
thing
done.
is a finger dexterity test. You're going to use either
Like
hand.
this.
Well, that's not the way I do this one.
Like this. He's a pro. He's probably had 1 or 2 DUIs in his life.
So what you're going to do, you're going to count the tips of each finger just like I am here. Count 1, 2, 3, 4.
Can I have a drink of water before I do this? Because like my whole mouth is dry. It makes me look dumber. I promise.
This is the last test.
Makes
Okay?
him look dumb. He's
And
trying to
this
get a
has
drink of
nothing to
water.
do with it. So, touching the tips of each finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, 3, 2.
Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, like that.
That's what I did, yeah.
Okay.
Nailed
She's
it.
fine.
Not that bad.
She's an angel.
Sure. So, okay. So, how many beers do you think you had?
0, man.
0?
Help me out, man. Like, what are we doing here? Like, what did I do?
I told you why I
I'm just
stopped
trying to
you.
take her home,
Well,
man.
I
That's
understand that. I hear this from everybody
I know. I
we
get
deal
it.
with. we got to make sure you're getting there safely. I
am,
understand
though.
you didn't get
But
in
I
the,
really am, though.
I understand you
I'm
didn't
not
get
out
in the
here-
crash, but
I'm not, though.
we got to do it the right way, right? And you got to have a
Sure.
driver's license.
I understand
You
that.
can't be over the legal limit. And
understand
you're
that.
actually on O2 restrictions.
I'm just trying to get her home, man. You know that.
I want to wait
Hey,
till you get.
he's just trying to get
Can
his
I
girl
just,
home.
like, pay this ticket or whatever? Like, this is going to ruin my goddamn life.
Well, I'm
Yeah, a DUI will ruin your goddamn night. It'll ruin every single night. I mean, that's just, don't drink and drive, dude.
not out to ruin anybody's
I know,
life.
but, like, please don't let me do
You know.
this.
Asking the cops, please. Not going to help you.
Well, the fact of the matter is we didn't pass field. So now, why didn't we pass field? Is
I
it
don't
your
know.
injury or is it something else?
I guarantee it's my injury.
You know?
Smart, blaming it on his injury. Now, the cop kind of gave him that choice, but at least he still hasn't admitted to having anything to drink.
You saw how fast I was going for, like, this good stuff.
Sure. So are you willing to blow into a PBT and just
I just
see,
can't.
see where you're
My
at?
mouth is just too dry and I can't breathe. I got asthma.
All right, so he's blaming his asthma, saying he can't blow, and he's got cotton mouth, right? I wonder if he was smoking some of the wacky tobacco, but, you know, can't knock him if he's doing that.
You want to at least give it a shot?
I can't.
Then I have to place you under arrest.
I understand.
Okay, all right. Step up here and then put your hands behind your back. All right, bring your hand.
All right, so he's getting placed under arrest for failing the field sobriety test. I saw a wobble in there. He didn't really do the heel to toe, right? The cop has probable cause to arrest him, and he's refusing to blow the breathalyzer. Now, you can still blow in a breathalyzer, and they could still arrest you, right? I've seen it happen before. But he did fail the field sobriety test. He messed up on the ABC test. He had a wobble when he was doing the heel to toe. He wasn't actually hitting the heel to toe. And then he also got pulled over for having an expired registration. So far, this cop has kind of done everything right. I will say, you know, the driver, he's been super respectful. You know, that's kind of the best way to not get yourself shot by the cops or treated, you know, with disrespect from the police. The police have been pretty respectful to this guy. So far, I think the whole thing's kind of been pretty kosher, except, you know, our defendant here, he's been talking too much, right? One other thing I will say. So it looks like so far he's complying with the police. The best way to get yourself beat up or shot by the cops is to resist arrest. Now, we saw that this officer had another cop there who was just kind of standing there. That's typically done in all of, you know, field sobriety tests for officer safety. But the best way to get yourself either beat up or shot by the cops is to resist arrest, okay? Or obviously pull a weapon on them. He's definitely gonna have to call his mom now.
I also got a warrant out for your arrest. I got to figure out what that's for.
So what?
Not sure. You wouldn't have anything in your pants, would you? Well, I just got to ask you.
All right, again, so this cop keeps saying everything, trying to act like your friend, right? I just got to ask. He qualifies everything. I'm just asking. Well, just because they're asking doesn't mean you got to answer. So I've probably said it, I don't know. Should have had a meter on how many times I said it. Keep your mouth shut.
That's my dad. I told you he died. That's not nice. Is that nice?
That ain't.
You said nice.
Oh, I didn't say that. If I did, I'm totally sorry. I don't recall. I didn't. That ain't what I don't believe I said that.
It's on there.
I totally apologize if I did. That's not.
Okay. I'm just saying it's on there.
That's not how I meant it.
Wild.
I thought I said really.
I don't know if you
Yeah,
said
no, you said nice.
Oh,
That's cool.
I don't recall. I don't believe it. If I did, I totally apologize. That's not the
Well,
intent there. So
look,
20, 40,
read-
60.
Re-look at it. I know you have it
60
on your shit.
There's $64.
Uh-huh. But you said nice.
That
That's
ain't
cool,
that.
man. That's cool.
Sir, that ain't what I meant by that.
I know, but you said it, though.
I'm not that cold-hearted. Okay, need you to step around to the passenger side here, okay?
I'm trying to be, like, cool with you guys. I don't know.
All right, so here we go. Found a vaping device in his vehicle. Now, after the cops arrest you, they are allowed to search your vehicle. It just comes with the territory. You know, they're allowed to search for evidence that you committed a crime. And most states, when this happens, it's perfectly legal and well within the cop's rights. Now, depends on what state he's in as to whether or not, you know, this marijuana or the vaping even matters.
Can I at least get some water, man? Is that cool?
Is there a water bottle in the car?
I hope so.
All right, so the cops are even buckling him in.
Why do you think it's
Better
nice
than I
like
got.
that,
Sir, that
in a
ain't.
tent?
It ain't nice at all.
I know, but
Wait,
like,
did
why'd
I
you
just
say
I,
that?
I don't believe I did.
I think I'm already in trouble.
Yeah, I'll say you're in a little bit of trouble. But this cop's going to get him some water if he has. Said he'll give it to him if he has it in his car.
So is your ma coming then to pick her up,
I
or
hope so.
how are we getting her home?
Is my cell phone in my pocket?
Nope.
Can you grab it, please?
All right, so he's facing a felony 6th offense, drunk driving, bail jumping, misdemeanor charges of operating while revoked. Okay, 6 offenses for drinking and driving. That's gonna get you probably some jail time. I'm gonna be very interested to see if in these next, 30 or so seconds, if something pops up on the screen about this guy has spent significant time in jail. But 6 times drinking and driving, that's a lot.
And ask her where it's at. Yep.
And remember, when you already have charges against you and the cops run your they are going to know everything about you, right? So keeping your mouth shut is always the best policy, okay? But you can't be drinking and driving when you got 5 prior convictions, all right? And it looks like he's been tampering with his ignition interlock device, right? So, they're hitting him with a couple of different things here. And all of these things are, suffice to say, self-destruction, right? It's on him. And I really, and the cop was pretty respectful. So I don't really feel all that bad for this guy. However, he did kind of keep his cool. So I'll give him that. But what an idiot. So what have we learned here, everybody? Keep your mouth shut and don't drink and drive, especially 6 times. So tell me what you guys think in the comments. 6 times. You guys even think this guy should be, out in public, or if he should have already been in jail? Let me know in the comments. Like and follow the page. Like and follow the channel. If you guys ever have any questions, or you're in the Carolinas, you need help with an injury case, or if you get pulled over drinking and driving, make sure you hit me up in my DMs. All of my socials are listed in the bottom of the corner. Appreciate you guys. Have a killer rest of your day.
Big verdict.